Well, let me see if I can share this quick project with you. Provided you have everything, it can be done very quickly. We all recognize these. They're pharmacy pill bottles, small, medium, large, and here are the caps for them. This is the child-safe lid, cracks like that, and what you want to do is remove this from here. It pops out like that. Same thing with the others. We're going to use this bit, and we're going to use the, this is from water bottles now. It needs to be this type because you cannot use this lid because this is going to be your cake and it's too big. So it needs to be something that once you put on here, you can still see the rim of the plate. And or you can use, I'll give you other choices, but the tops of little glue bottles or paint, these little things that can be used, or a bigger one, you can use that, cut it down to the size. That's going to be for your base. This comes like that. Glue it back together. So that's what we're going to do. That's what we need. We're also going to need a push pin. This one was using a golf tee. But we'll also need some form of goop to make the icing, such as this icing. This was done using drywall mud, which is what I have in here, and it's been very tight. I actually have this tight and then inside another big jar and tighten it up because it does dry fast. Polyfilla is also a good one. Silicone is also a good one. Don't try making it with glue and flour because it just cracks. I tried all kinds of things like that. Don't do that. Then you're going to need some hearts so you can decorate. Didn't decorate any of these with these kind of hearts because we didn't have it at the time. But we'll see how they're quite lovely, and they're from Etsy. Decide what base you're going to want to have. For the ease of this particular tutorial, I'm going to just show you this one, which is your push pin, your thumbtack, and push it in, and there you go. The base is quite tiny for it to hold nicely, but it does hold. So you can add, this is a little woodsy, and then paint it all white. I do that. Glue. So shall we do that? All right, let's glue. Forgot to mention, of course, we always need glue in our projects. And I'm going to, this is plain white glue. Works well. And I'm going to leave it for a bit. So now you have your base. Then we're going to work on the cap itself. By the way, using these caps, we can, this is the magic of this particular project, we can interchange your base. You can make one base. You can change the top to another one. Here's another cake. Now this bottom is not finished. So I'm going to take some Gorilla Glue, or anything that glues plastic, and just do a few little dabs on the inside here, just so that you can glue this ring back on it, because when you take it out of the bottle, the ring comes off. I'm going to let that dry for a bit. While those items are drying, I'm going to show you some of the decorations that I've used. This is one of those little heart. This is not candy. This is actually bought off of Etsy. They're called nail art, and you can get all kinds of them. Chocolate hearts, and then you have pink ones. You have some that are nicely textured. Some say I love. Actually, these are so cute. They could actually be quarter scale cakes. They're almost like a cake in itself. Look at that. It's very cute. Little cookies. You can put them on a plate. So that's the kind of thing that you can get. But as I mentioned, I made hearts using Fimo. So I've rolled out on the pasta machine. I've rolled out enough Fimo to make a few hearts. Now, I did a whole bunch of these because we did Valentine's heart cakes, and so this was one of the Valentines. I did them in pink and I did them in red. So here I've got the Fimo rolled out. Now I've done this two ways. I've done it where I can bake it just for a couple of minutes, or I've used it just as is, and the Fimo is not too terribly soft. And you can see I like to look at it from the bottom, and I see it under the bottom, and I go that, poke it out, and there's your little heart, and then you cook it afterwards. So you have a choice, and let's do another one without looking at it this time. I find that I use less if I do look at it. From the underneath I use less. The good part about not baking it is that when you are cutting with your cutter, it gives you a nice round edge for your hearts. Now you have to know that you'll need to pre-bake these if you're going to use them, because once you put them on the cake you cannot bake it. There's glue, there's all kinds of other stuff on the cake itself. Oops. There you go. And then they can be baked. And this doesn't really damage your cutter. So now that this is glued on, we're going to apply, this is the drywall mud I was telling you about, directly onto the cap. Now, some people have done, and I posted this on Instagram, they left the ridges and they just painted with nail polish over it, which was quite nice too, if that's what you're going for. I prefer not seeing the ridges, so I just, I'm going to eventually get my hands in here because I work better with my fingers. So here's the beginning of getting it all over my hands. I'm going to go like that. This is the fun part, playing with it. We have plenty here. Let's go back to this. If you put too much, you are going to, it's going to take a while to dry, but you can always put your little dryer to it. You might want to touch it up once it's dry. You might want to add a little bit here and there. That's not a problem with this stuff. So here we have the polymer clay, which sculpted. This one I didn't roll it up very nicely, which is why it's got some bubbles. So, but for this particular thing, it doesn't matter that it has some texture. We can do tiny little hearts. We're going to have to keep them. They will go flying. These are lovely. Tiny little hearts. And Fimo gives you a bit of different dimension. And you can just keep doing it. These punches are great. You can spread them out on your cake. Make them in chocolate. Make them in white chocolate and white. They're pretty as well. Punches like leather. That. Now, I also used some of this in this particular cake. We've got the chocolate and the the red chocolate hearts and the chocolate hearts. And these are shards from when this got cooked, and it just cracked. And or you can cut it with your blade, cut little shards off, and cut little bits. Cuts with a knife, cuts with scissors, and then I used it as in chocolate shards, or these would be the same thing but would be in chocolate, and those just got glued to the side of your cake. This is a braid made of Fimo as well and baked before putting it on here. So those are the things you can do. This is done with, this was a little bit of paper that I had. It's quite effective. Looks like chocolate. And here's one of those nail art and the little hearts. This one has a big heart on the top, and that big heart came from here. And one day I'll show you how I did. This is a dollar store bubble thing for weddings. Came filled with bubbles, and I took this top off, used the top for this cake, and that became this wedding cake. And on here, what you see here, this is actually gallery glass or stained glass paint, which I just applied on there, and it made it look like some sort of glaze or icing. This that you see around the cake here is just string. Just showing you some ideas. And then the bottom, you could paint with silver. It could be your silver tray. It could be just plain clear, like in glass. This was just edging that I used some paper. Here we go. I have some paper here. Edging shears, and cut out some edging, and you use it on the side of your plate. Of course, you would have enough to go all the way around. These are just tiny little beads, so lots to play with. This is a big one. This got goop here. This is the bigger plate, and for the bigger plate, this one also looks nice here. Oops, like that. As you can see, I did the edging on this one. On here, one more little thing. If you're going to be interchanging these cakes onto your cake plate, you will need to cut off this rim. See that? Just cut it off with the scissors, cut all the way around, because then your cake will go in nice and easy. Otherwise it won't be so easy. So we're going to finish off by painting all this. I'm going to paint it all white, and we'll put in the cake trims afterwards as well. This one can go here. So a variety of things that you can do with these. Here's a nice little look. This one was done with a little bell, and we'll let it sit for a bit until that gets dried up. it is dry, ready to paint, because this is a little wood thing, and it's going to need more than one coat up to the plastic base. Okay, it's going to need definitely a couple of coats, but I don't, and it's snowing a ton outside, so I'm not going to worry about it. I'll just do a couple of coats. We now have the cake all done. I actually did a little bit more filling when the first coat dried a little bit. If you find that there's some bits that stick out, you can just poke them away, make it. For the sake of time, I've gone ahead and decorated the cake with some of the hearts, and the nail polish is still quite fresh. I just dabbed it with nail polish. And then I found a little angel. I think he's more archangel than he is Cupid, but of course couldn't find Cupid. This is it. The base is drying, and I'll show you how that comes together. I've gone ahead and decorated the cake stand. So there it is. Put a little angel on it. It's more like an archangel than a Cupid, but couldn't find my Cupids. While looking for a Cupid, I came across the little bell I wanted to show you as a stand, as a base for the platter. Drill a little, poke a little hole, put it in, and then paint it the same color that you want. There. That's the one that was used on this one. I've also found these, but they were smaller. And for the sake of time, I've gone ahead and finished our cake stand. Very quickly done. Take time to do it nicely. Just wanted to put it together for you. I've painted it. Obviously, the bottom needs more coats of paint, and there it is. Put some nail polish on the top of the hearts. I may tone down the shine. For now, it's that way. Hope you enjoyed the little cake, the cake stand, and the cake with items that you have at home. If you like this, want to continue watching our videos, don't forget to like, subscribe, and until we meet again, thanks for watching.